Welcome back. We're now looking at focus 2, which is constructive feedback is what we do. Feedback is important, but we don't pay much attention on how to do it well. This focus is about identifying when feedback is necessary and how to deliver it effectively. Feedback allows us to voice what needs to be said for improvement and good performance. If it's positive feedback, we need to know what the behaviour was so we can keep doing it. If it's constructive feedback, we need to know how our behaviour is impacting others and impacting the work we're doing. In work settings, only about 1 in 5 people think that the feedback that they get from others helps them to improve their work. Does this match your experience? Does the feedback that you get help to improve what you do? Let me talk about 3 of the main reasons why giving feedback is essential. Firstly, we need feedback for improvement and skill development. Constructive feedback helps people to understand how to develop their skills, their performance, and their behaviours. The second is for clarification of expectations. When individuals receive feedback on their work, they gain a better understanding of what is expected of them and how they contribute to the business. The third is to allow a practice of improvement. It encourages learning and continual improvement, which helps with innovation and efficiency within a business. This focus is about supporting the team at Cleveland's to be able to give and receive feedback more often and more effectively. To do this, we are introducing 2 tools. The first is the gates that need to be open to give feedback. The second is how we present that feedback. The aim for this focus is to increase the amount of feedback that is given at Cleveland's. We want to let people know what the good work and behaviours are so they can keep doing it. For the work or behaviour that isn't helping, we want to let people know through constructive feedback so the team can support the behaviours and outcomes that we do want. The first tool when giving feedback is what we call the 3 gates. Think of 3 farm gates that you need to be open for you to give feedback. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Let me explain what these mean. Firstly, is it true? Do you have the skills and expertise to give the feedback? If you don't, the feedback may not be accurate and it may not be correct. If I'm going to give you feedback on the structural requirements for a set of rafters that we're installing, I need to know what I'm saying is correct. People can talk from a point of view of, I think I know what I'm talking about, but your feedback needs to be true. You need to know that what you are passing on is factually correct. For example, before you pass on some feedback about the specifics of a plan, do you need to confirm and recheck those specifications for yourself? Being true is about you knowing what you are saying is correct. The second is it necessary? This talks about being outcome focused. Is what was produced fit for purpose and meets the scope of the job? Sometimes we just like to jump in with feedback for the sake of giving feedback. I'm important, so I need to be giving feedback. Did the work meet the requirements of what's expected? Was it on time, on budget, and to standard? If it meets these, you're probably just providing feedback as a matter of taste and it isn't necessary. Thirdly, is it kind? This asks, is the feedback intended to help? You need to be wanting to build the other person as you go through this process. We've all been on the receiving end of feedback that leaves you feeling deflated at the end of it. This is not kind feedback. If it does leave the recipient feeling deflated or worthless at the end of it, it's saying more about the feedback giver. Feedback needs to be intended to help the other person so they can develop and grow. Those are the 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And all of these 3 gates need to be open for you to give the feedback. If one of these 3 gates is closed, it's not going to work. Think about this example. A project hasn't gone to plan and you've made an error with the external cladding. Is it necessary? Yes, it is. The work doesn't meet the building standards. Is it kind? Yes. I approach the feedback in a way that tries to understand what went wrong and support the person to learn. But if it's not true, if I don't have the expertise to know what was done wrong, then the feedback I give may push them down the wrong path, so next time they do a different mistake based on my feedback. The feedback needs to have all 3 gates open to be effective. Now we're going to go into how to structure the feedback, and for this we'll use the acronym IF, IT, AH. We structure it in a specific way so that it's easier to give, it's easier to receive, it's safe, and it's a dialogue. By dialogue we mean two-way. We start with an invitation, we then deliver facts, we go into the impact and then cover off their story and conclude with an action plan. The start is the invitation. No one wants to be blindsided by feedback, so this lets the other person know feedback is coming and it lets them know you have good intentions. It could sound something like this. Do you mind if we have a talk about the progress and timeline for the job you're on? Or can we have a talk about your comments in that toolbox? From there you outline the facts. This is the information that you can see, you can touch. Don't get this confused with opinion. We use facts because they are the least controversial and most objective. The next is impact. This brings meaning to those facts. What is the impact of that behaviour? What is the impact of this work? Let me bring those first three steps together in an example. Can we have a chat about where we're at with this job? That's the invitation. Now the facts. The formwork was put up incorrectly on the job. We've had to redo it and this has set us back 3 days. When I asked last Tuesday if you needed any help, you said that you didn't. Those are the facts, now onto the impact. This error sets us back and the client is putting a lot of pressure on us. I'm not sure which bits of the project you are comfortable and confident with and which ones you're not. I'm struggling to know which pieces of work I can leave you with. You then move on to their story. Up until now, it's been you getting your viewpoint across, and now it's your time to listen and be curious. So you ask them an open-ended question to get them to contribute their point of view. Something like, how do you see it? Or how did we get here? Often at this point, you'll be amazed at the other side of the story that you get presented that you weren't even aware of. If you have made it safe, they'll be able to openly share what's going on for them. You've then got all the information out on the table to work through to a good solution. Finally, it's the action plan. We've given this feedback because something hasn't met our expectations and you probably don't want it to happen again. So what are we going to do going forward? Maybe it's something that you need to do differently. This is about recording those things and following through. Let me take you through one more example, this time about speaking up in the business. Have you got some time to have a chat about the information flow that I'm getting for this job? I've been working on lining this building now for 2 days. In this time, you've had to change what I'm doing 3 times. I don't have a written plan for this job and the instructions that I have are the ones that you have talked through. I think I could do a better job if I had the info up front and I wasn't having to come back to you to clarify so many things. Is it possible to change the way I'm getting this information? You then discuss it and you come up with an action plan. That's constructive feedback, working to get what you want so you can do better work. In this video, which is on the second focus, constructive feedback is what we do, we've introduced 2 tools. The first is for when to give feedback. We need to know that the 3 gates are open. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? We've also gone through a structure for giving that feedback. If, it, are. Start with the invitation, share your facts, discuss the impact, ask for their story and make an action plan. This is a lot to take in. We'll go through it in detail when we come together for the workshop. Write down your questions and what wasn't quite clear to you and what you want to know more about. See you soon.